What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Rantin review. We're talking today about the promo from Cody Rhodes over this past week on AEW Dynamite. Some people liked it, some people hated it. Apparently it's controversial. I missed all of that, apparently. So we're going to talk about it today because several people have asked me about it in the comment section and on Twitter and Facebook. But before we get to that, of course, you know what you can do to help this out. The channel. Help other people find this video by taking your finger and just smashing that like button, turn it blue, let the YouTube algorithm know that I talk about AEW and that other people who like AEW might want to watch this video. I appreciate it. It helps out the video. It helps out the channel very, very much and the video as well. So thank you. So apparently all of this controversy came over the past week since Wednesday night. So Cody Rhodes gave a promo that I did watch the promo. It didn't strike me as anything controversial when I watched it. But this may be a generation thing, so we'll see about that in a bit. But I did want to go back and rewatch the promo again and see kind of where people may have been a little bit upset about it. Now, I think this is the truncated version of the promo, so there may be some parts left out of it. This is the one that AEW is putting out. So let's have a look at it, and then I'll give my thoughts on it. Again, understanding some of... Now that I've seen that some other people have had issues with it and what they've said about the promo.
Vitriol in his tone. He's talked about the anger, the argument, the division. And the irony is that Anthony has a visa, courtesy of the US DOT. Anthony collects that great green, courtesy of the US Treasury. He's afforded all the same rights we all are to do and say what he'd like. That's freedom. That's America. You talk about division, you talk about anger, you talk about the argument from the outside in. We hear that all the time. Take it from an American. The argument is what makes us who we are. Sure, there's anger in every pocket, but our empathy outweighs our anger. Let me ask you, Anthony, you didn't come here to live the England dream. And I don't mean to disparage across the pond. They sure know how to make a wrestler. I've wrestled some of the best. 1986, I'm a country music fan. Willie Nelson came out with his song, Living in the Promised Land. He said, send us your tired and weak, we'll make them strong. Sing us your far off song and we will sing along. I stopped singing when you balled up that Olympic medalist fist and you put it between these ribs here. You like to educate, you like to pontificate on what the U.S. is. Allow me to turn the favor. The industry that you joined, it was an Italian immigrant who was world champion for 4,040 days. There's so much to behold here. There's so much to love here. The dream lives here. Patents and invents the single-piece bumper and enriches and cultivates the lives of everybody literally in the city that I am standing. Prior to 1961 in Atlanta, Georgia, there was segregation. Blacks and whites could not attend the same schools. And in 2021, in the very same city, my wife will give birth to a beautiful white, a beautiful black American princess who will have both identities, shun neither, and I want her to know. I want her to know I didn't just lay down under another man's flag. I didn't just have this defeatist attitude when somebody ran down the United States. I got up off my ass and I fought back. And here's where we're going to do the fighting. At double or nothing.
Put asses in seats.
Returning to their seats and returning close up, thank God. And on that night, it'll be Anthony Agogo versus myself, but he will not be wrestling the American Nightmare. Because for one night, I'm gonna pick up a sword that is all too heavy, but it's either me or my brother who have the right to pick it up. So for one night, Justin Roberts, this relates to you. Nothing on presentation's sake will be different. It comes from deep inside. As I said, at Double or Nothing, it will be Anthony Agogo versus the American Dream, Cody Rhodes.
Okay, so I rewatched that, and I think the first part was cut out when he was talking about how it was he kind of cribbed from Captain America from the Avengers and talking about how the Stars and Stripes are outdated a little bit or old-fashioned or something. Watching that back again, I now understand why some people, because if I got to put on my political hat on for a second, I understand why some people probably had an issue with the promo. This is hard. This is kind of nasty to get into, but okay. Here's the thing. Here's my personal opinion on it. There's nothing he really said in that promo that's really like outrageous or shocking or terrible. I saw somebody kind of trolled him and they kind of baited him to think on Twitter to think that they liked the promo, but then they said that they were crying and because it was so shit, and other people said he was their favorite mid-carder. It's interesting how nasty people are towards him because of that promo. And I kind of have to wonder, why would you be so nasty to somebody about a promo like that? This is going to be difficult to do without getting into politics, so we might as well just do it. Okay, so my perspective. For the last 20 years, roughly, I've seen in my lifetime, I'm old enough to see differently. In popular culture, it has been very chic and considered enlightened, or I'm not going to use that other word. It's common to kind of rag on the United States if you are in the United States. It's kind of funny how there's a good chunk of this country that likes to rag on the country. And yes, the United States has a lot of terrible, horrible demons in its past. You don't have to tell me. A lot of very heinous sins exist in the past of this country. A lot of heinous sins exist in the present in this country, and a lot of heinous sins will exist in the future in this country. However, I do feel that in pop culture in America right now, and this is specifically pop culture I'm talking about, there's this kind of, I don't know why this is, I guess maybe just ignorance, but there's this kind of thought that only the United States has done atrocities in the past and atrocities in the present. Meanwhile, we've got things going on right now with people blowing up each other in buildings. We've got ethnic cleansing in a couple of places around the world, and we somehow think we're the worst country in the world and we do the worst human rights violations and all this other stuff. As a person who likes history, because you guys know I love old school stuff, so I like history, I like reading history, I like understanding history, I'll just say this as far as that's concerned: there is not one piece of ground, of earth, on this planet where humans roam that does not have blood in its soil. That being said, I think that the issue people have with the promo, because it's not a crappy promo, it's a good promo. It's as far as delivery, as far as how he carries himself, as far as the passion that's involved with it, as far as it being on point and kind of taking big macro things and focusing it on and translating it into the match that he's trying to sell. It was an excellent promo. Cody's been very good at his promos. I think the reason why a lot of people are really angry about it and say it's a shit promo or it's a terrible promo or he's a mid-carder and all this other stuff is because the very simple fact that he spoke positively about the United States. I think that seems to be where the anger comes from. Because again, I didn't see anything really offensive in there. Maybe the UK line, but he quickly followed that up by, the line he said, you're not here living the European dream or the United Kingdom dream or whatever he said. You're coming here for the American dream. And then he followed that up by saying it's not to disparage England, but, there's a lot of great things that come out of England, obviously, but he didn't stay there. He didn't go into the wrestling community there because most of them kind of gave up their scene anyway. He came here to be in the wrestling scene here. He listed off some famous immigrants who had come to the United States and done well. Obviously, he works with the guy he works with that's funding his company, funding AEW. Obviously, that's part of the whole lineage there. There's also obviously Bruno Sammartino and lots of other people he referenced, or he was hinting at least. And again, For me, Cody has always seemed like a woke centrist, which is kind of a weird combination. But I've seen plenty of interviews with Cody and heard him in a lot of interviews and seen him say, take stances on a lot of things and tweet out stuff. He hops on to a lot of woke stuff, but he also is a centrist in the sense that he wants everybody to get along, and he thinks that all of these divisions, as he even said, the argument is how the argument is why we are what we are, and our empathy overrides the passion and the hate and whatever else, which may be true, maybe not. I mean, it may be naive, but I don't think that warrants calling the guy shit or the amount of hate that he's gotten over this promo. It's really, really strange. And here's the thing for me that's where I think on the macro level, politically speaking, social politically speaking, and then I'm going to get off of this and talk about the match itself and what this has to do with actual wrestling. But I have always known as a person who's read up a lot about American history, German history, African history, Russian history, you can kind of always tell when your culture is going or tipping too far to one political ideal or the other one. Usually if it's tipping too far to the right, things are very rigid. There's not a lot of new thought and imagination and innovation because everything's so rigid and stuck in time and it doesn't move, and then things start to deteriorate. You can sometimes tell if it's gone too far to the left because things get the society feels very chaotic. You as a citizen will feel it's very chaotic, as opposed to if it's tilting too far to the right, you might feel things are very stilted. If it's tilted too far to the left, you might feel like things are in chaos all the time and everything's just breaking down all the time and everything around you is falling apart. I think another indicator besides those, which I don't think applies to this, but what applies to this, is that when you have when your centrists are being maligned by people and being pushed over to be an extremist, I think that's a good sign that your culture's probably tilted a little bit too far in one direction or the other, and you can see which direction it's in by the people who are attacking the centrist. So that's all I want to say about it. I'm not going to dig too much into it. I completely understand why people have an issue with Americana. This isn't a political YouTube channel, so I'm not going to get too far into that. I'm just going to say it's kind of telling. But as far as the promo is concerned, whatever political bias aside, it's not there's nothing wrong with the promo. It's a good promo. It's a promo that I've seen many times in many different places and many different eras of wrestling. However, when I came up in wrestling in the 80s, patriotism was high to the point of propaganda to some point. So I can understand why there's a disconnect between this old school type of promo and what's going on now, and even having fans chanting USA might be offensive to some people. Now, as far as wrestling is concerned and them building this match, this is a different... The point of this match is to build Anthony Agogo as a star, to kind of introduce him to AEW at large. We haven't seen him really in a high-profile match. That's what Cody is there in AEW to do. I keep stressing this over and over again. People complain about Cody. This is what Cody is there for, to get over new stars, to shine a light on them, to be that celebrity tie-in for AEW, to go out and do the Go Big show and have his own reality show and bring in Snoop Dogg and Mike Tyson and Shaquille O'Neal and get that kind of celebrity push for AEW, that it's not just a wrestling company, it also can expand and has its tentacles out in other places. It's going to be a long journey to do, but it's a smart journey to do, and he kind of took that on. And again, remember, he can never currently, storyline-wise, become AEW World Champion, so he's got to do other things. And helping out younger stars come up and helping out people who probably aren't big stars like QT Marshall at least get some kind of a shine, I don't have a problem with that. Now, it all depends on how the match goes in the end. Right now, after listening to this promo and then seeing what Anthony Agogo said, it's kind of a 50-50 match result for me for this one. I could see Cody winning, and I could also see Anthony Agogo winning. I don't know if Anthony Agogo would win. I think Cody might win the match, but I think Agogo is going to look strong, and that's usually what you want to do in a situation. But now, again, for some fans and some people in the States with this extra added level of political nonsense to it, there are going to be people who are going to be very angry if Cody Rhodes wins the match, because they're very angry about United States, and that's just the way it is. I'm just going to tell the truth about it. That's what's going on. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this. Let your voice be heard in the comment box below. I really don't care too much about the political spin on this. I understand where it's coming from again, but I don't want politics in my wrestling. I don't really care for it. I don't think this is too political, but I think it's political enough that people are going to talk about it. And I'm also not too convinced that Cody did not do this on purpose, hoping to get this discussion, this conflict between these two ideologies that he and Anthony Agogo are representing, picked up by some of the news media. So we'll see. I don't know. Maybe that's what he's trying to do with this. But, time will tell. I want to know what you guys, again, think in the comment box below. Let your voice be heard. Until next time, I will see you guys for more news, rumors, and commentary right here on the Rantin Review. Have a good day.